just the headline made me happy. Elie Mystal calls the Constitution kind of trash on The View. Cue right-wing freakout. Just in case you hadn't heard the exchange. Let's see. Elie said the Constitution is kind of trash. Let's just talk adults for a second. Behar asked Mystal to repeat what he said. Mystal said, the Constitution is kind of trash. It was written by slavers and colonists and white people willing to make deals with slavers and colonists. They didn't ask anybody to look like me what they thought about the Constitution. It was written without the consent of black and brown people in this country and without the consent of women in this country. Mm-hmm. Behar asked Mystal if he wants to rewrite the Constitution. Mystal said, I could, right? I could rewrite parts of it in a tweet. And then he did. Cue second right-wing freakout. Okay. Which is why we love him. Back off, you View bitches. You don't have a jingle for Elie, do ya? Good morning, Elie Mystal.
Stephanie, here's the thing. The very first line of my book is, the Constitution is not good. The very last line of my book is, I'm here to tell you the Constitution is trash. It's Republicans who say that it always has to be that way. Mm-hmm. Like, the entire frame of my 240-page book is around the concept that the Constitution is not the best thing in the world. So when you ask me what my book is about, I'm gonna tell you what my book is about.
The title of Elie Mystal's best-selling book is allow me to retort, A Black Guy's Guide to the Constitution, in case you're not sure what to expect. But you tweeted
the ball here, and one of the things that always gets me about conservatives is that they somehow think that liberals are embarrassed to believe the things that we believe.
Right.
And I'm not.
Right.
Because I'm not like conservatives are embarrassed to believe the things they believe, right? They always want to like, oh, I don't actually want to call that Negro the N-word. I just, it was an act, right? So they're always trying to like back off of what they say. I'm not trying to back off of what I say. I wrote a book about it.
You tweeted, I mean, the interest right now is in something, the interest right now is something, right? To your book. You're getting a lot of interest. You said it really does feel like the next book should be A Black Guy Writes a Constitution.
Because this one, I'm just kind of explaining the problems with our current Constitution, and especially the interpretation of the Constitution, right? So, one of the pushbacks that I'm sure you saw that I get from right-wingers all the time is like, well, maybe the Constitution was written by slavers and bad people, but it's been amended, and now it's fixed, and whatever. You want me to tell you what white people do to amendments?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the 15th Amendment, where we had a whole war, we said that black people could vote, and then we took the 15th Amendment and we shoved it in a locker for 100 years. Right? 100 years, conservatives didn't care at all that the 15th Amendment existed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So don't tell me that the Constitution can be perfected just through amendments, as long as you let conservatives interpret what those amendments say, specifically white conservatives interpret what those amendments say. It's going to go all wrong. We've had, here's the last thing I'll say. There's been 115 Supreme Court justices in American history. That's 100. What the Constitution and its amendments mean.
Yeah.
108 of them have been white men.
Yeah. Well, it's not the last thing you're going to say, or the interview would be over. All the right people hate you. Matt Schlapp tweeted, Elie is a desecrator. He does not believe in America's founding or American law. This is dangerous. If this is not an insurrection, what is?
Oh, God.
Do you have a black guy's retort?
A desecrator, right? Yeah. Well, again, what I said on Twitter is that my understanding of the world is not a belief system, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's not a question of whether or not I believe in the founding. The founding happened. I can read about it in a book. Also things that happened. Slavery, that happened. Also things that happened. The January 6th insurrection happened. Like, it doesn't require belief. It's only Republicans and conservatives right now who think facts are based on their own personal opinions and beliefs. That's not how I roll.
Right.
So there's no question about whether or not I think the founding happened. Of course it did. My problem isn't that it happened. My problem is that it was crap.
Yeah. By the way, you also tweeted, when people spend an entire weekend criticizing your weight, I feel like there's two ways you can go. One, wake up at 7 and hop on your wife's elliptical. Or two, order Dunkin' Donuts on Uber Eats at 10. Will Hunting voice. I went with the donut.
Man, they come at you hard, though, right?
Man.
This is what I didn't know. I loved going on The View. Sunny hosting was great. She read the whole book.
Yeah.
I had really good conversation with the people on set and also backstage. But I did not know that their viewers were so intense, man. Woo.
Yeah.
I am used to public criticism, but it got last weekend was like real bad, right? They really came. And it's weird because they try to like they take these shots, right?
Yeah.
About your personal whatever. And like Stephanie, you've been with me.
Oh,
when that's
I was
happened.
sitting next to you on a panel, and we had to pretend to be conservatives, and they had to pretend to be liberals, and they did that kind of bull. And you had to almost hold me back because I almost crawled across the table because they still think that's the kind of, they went for the easy jokes that so I'm like, yeah, you're not being liberal.
Right. And it's just like that. Why would you think that affects me? Like, I've been who I've been, like, my whole damn life.
Yeah.
Do you think that I'm a vampire? Do you think that I have no mirrors in my house? Like, I know what I look like. I'm obviously comfortable with it, right? Like, because I could try to look somehow different if I wanted to. I don't, so we're cool. So the way that they come at you personally really shows that they have no ability to argue with you. But it really got me with this particular kind of line of attack, because again, I wrote a whole book answering their questions.
Right.
And so it's like if you just what about the amount? Like literally, that's like the point of my book, right? So it's just like trying to debate people who won't even give you the courtesy of reading the answers to their questions that they're shouting at you is a little bit frustrating.
And yes, and a lot of the points in your book are, I think, widely, popular. The presidential election should be decided by the popular vote. Term limits for Supreme Court justices. Speaking of which, by the way, you said you don't get more qualified to be on the Supreme Court than Ketanji Brown Jackson. The best you can hope for is as qualified, because someone was saying, do you understand how good you have to be, to get to where she's gotten as a black woman in this country? But
yeah, I mean, look, she's the qualifications on this candidate, and this is one of the things I've said this is why she was the front runner from the jump, right? She should have been nominated for the pick that went to Merrick Garland. I think there were people, I was one of those people in real time who criticized the pick in real time of Merrick Garland. Certainly, I thought that she was always the front runner for this particular, once Breyer retired, being a former Breyer clerk herself, because her resume is just bulletproof. And you see that based on the attacks that the Republicans are making. Now, Steph, like I have been on both sides of this. Right? I have been defending Supreme Court justices, nominees, and I have been attacking Supreme Court nominees. When I go on the attack, look at what I've got, right? I've got cases that these people have written. I've got law reviews that these people have written. I've got, statements that they've made. I've got FBI investigations. I've got, well, that was for one.
Yeah.
But I've got stuff about why I don't like these people. With Brown Jackson, they got nothing.
Yeah.
They're coming at her with nothing. They're coming at her with like LSAT scores.
I know. When have we ever heard that? Ever in the history of the Supreme Court?
Right? Never. It's race baiting 101.
Yeah.
It's this. One of the things I hate about that argument is that like, well, I have to ask these questions because we don't know with affirmative action if she was qualified to get into law school. First of all, woman was in law school 30 years ago. Maybe we don't have to worry about that anymore. But two, the suggestion that before affirmative action, white people were totally cool with black people being qualified and never questioned them at all. It's just a ridiculous on its face statement, right?
Yep.
But that's the level that they're going at because they don't have actually anything on her, right?
Yeah, and by the way,
a decision that they can point to that they don't like, because the most controversial decisions that she's made have been rejecting the cockamamie Trump arguments to shield his documents and other Trump coup adjacent stuff. That's been her most controversial cases. They can't come at her for that. The rest of her cases have been straight down the middle mainstream.
So let's talk about what they are doing. Manu Raju tweets, Chuck Grassley, ranking Republican who backed ACB during her month-long confirmation process, balks at Democrats' timeline to confirm Ketanji Brown Jackson by Easter. He said we should not sacrifice the integrity of our constitutional advice and consent responsibility to meet an arbitrary timeline. Your thoughts, Elie?
The hypocrisy on these people just never stops, right? I mean, like there's no other way to put it. And people have to understand, pointing out that the Republicans are being hypocritical doesn't matter to Republicans because their base voters don't care about the hypocrisy, right? Like that concern themselves with. So they are hypocritical and their voters never punish them for their hypocrisy. And so they're going to continue to be hypocritical.